Welcome into Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jarrell Hendricks. We've got a great interview today, a very special guest, the new head coach of the Swansea Tigers, Willie Fox. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Hope y'all are too.
We are, and we appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, check us out on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, and YouTube at Movin Chains, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Fox was hired in January. He was the head coach at Wagener-Salley for the past 9 seasons, going 69-31. Prior to that, he coached at his alma mater of Pillion. Coach, let's start there. What's that transition been like? I know you're still working at Wagener-Salley for the end of the year, but kind of going back and forth. How has that transition been for you so far?
So it's a little tough being the AD at one place and being the head football coach at another. But looking forward to kind of wrapping up that deal tonight. We've got our athletic awards at Wagener-Salley tonight. So basically when I'm done with that, I'm kind of done being the AD in actuality. Technically not, but in actuality, yes. So that part's been a little bit of a struggle, but, you know, the struggle's been overridden by the excitement of a new challenge and a new opportunity. So I'm really looking forward to it. And we've had a good spring and really looking forward to a new opportunity and new setting and new challenges and new battles to fight. So, yeah.
Coach, it's one of my favorite portions of the show. We get to learn about you. If you don't mind going through your career, touching on, how you got to this point to lead this Swansea program.
Okay. So I played at Pillion. You talked about Pillion being my alma mater. I played for Coach Ben Freeman. I played there. I graduated. Not a lot of market for 5'7" offensive lineman. Good little high school player, but nobody was offering me any money to play for their college program. So, I got out of Pillion, went to USC Aiken, started working on my education degree, and actually while I was going to USC Aiken, I was coaching at Pillion. Started off coaching JV football and worked my way up and became the offensive line coach for the last 4 or 5 years of my career at Pillion. Learned a lot from Coach Ben Freeman. Learned a lot about how to deal with people. He was the best guy in the world to work for because I was crazy early on. I was a hothead and lost my temper and probably did a lot of things wrong. He always had my back because I think he saw that one day this guy's going to calm down. He's going to be a good coach. And then the job opened up at Wagener-Salley in 2015, and I took a shot at it and got it. And I wasn't ready for it. 29-year-old head football coach and. Thought I knew everything and thought I knew exactly how to run a football program and learned pretty quick that I had a lot to learn. But we had a good run here. 9 years and we won 3 region championships. And, in the history of Wagener-Salley, they'd only won 3 before that. So we had a good run. We had some deep playoff runs and we've sent a lot of kids to go play at the next level. So very proud of it. But, I wanted to take a chance at something else. Sometimes you just need a change, and I felt like it was time for me to move on, and really looking forward to this new opportunity. So, and I think Swansea has everything needed to be successful. So, really looking forward. I think there's good athletes. The administration has my back, and good coaching staff, and great facilities. So, just really looking forward to it's going to be a challenge. There's no doubt about that, but just really looking forward to that.
You mentioned the coaching staff. How is that shaping up for you? Are you still hiring any guys, or is it all kind of in place now over there at Swansea?
We're pretty much in place. I kept a lot of the guys that were there. I've got the athletic director, Preston Devers, my offensive line coach. He was the head coach at Edisto for several years. He's been at a lot of bigger schools before that. Jason Bush is on my staff. He was the head coach at Columbia for several years. He's been a lot of places as well. Craziest one is Brad Coleman. Brad Coleman used to be the head coach at Brooklyn Casey. Then he got into the administration role, and I came in and talked to the middle school kids, and he reached out and he said, "Coach, I'm retired, and I actually want to get back into coaching." And I said, "Well, I got a spot for you." So he was a head coach. I've got 3 former head coaches on my staff, and they're all great to bounce ideas off of and get advice from, and they're really good. And I brought one guy from Wagener with me that he's been with me for a year named Mason Isaac. He's going to coach our defensive line. Guy that has been in the community for a long time, Zach Smith. He's run the youth program, and he's done a great job. He's going to coach our receivers. Grant Dickey, who's a younger guy that is going to coach our DBs. And then our wrestling coach is also part of the football program. His name is Thel Singleton. So we've got I feel like a really good staff, a good mix of older guys and younger guys, and a lot of former head coaches and guys that coach in other programs. So really like the staff that we put together.
Coach, schematically, what are you planning to run, offensive and defensively there? And do you call, plays on either side of the ball?
Yes, sir. I'm a little different. I run the single wing. I don't know how much you guys know about the single wing, but we're kind of a hybrid between the single wing and some wing T stuff. And some of the stuff we do looks like the spread, but it's really based on wing T and single wing principles. So that offense has been good to me. It's not always pretty, but it's effective. So we've had a lot of success with it. So I'm going to stick with it, and the kids are really buying into it, and they're really liking it. It takes a certain physicality and a certain attitude to run it, but we're having a good time with it, and the kids are liking it. So we're going to stick with that on offense, and like I said, run some spread out wing T stuff as well. Then defensively, we're very multiple. I think we're going to base out of a 3-4, but we're going to be able to move around and get in a 4-man front, 5-man front, and be very aggressive. So, I like what we're doing on both sides of the ball. I really do. I think schematically the offense that we run, I believe, gives us an advantage because, everybody in today's world is running inside zone and throwing bubble screen. And when you play us, you're going to get in a bar fight for an hour. So you're going to, it's different. And most in my opinion, old school football is not something that kids see on TV anymore, and it's hard to replicate for 3 or 4 days in practice too. It's hard to simulate what we do. So I think it gives us an advantage. So everybody's always looking for an edge, and I think sometimes going old school gives you a little bit of an edge offensively.
Coach, you mentioned, Ben Freeman, your high school coach, a couple of the guys on your staff now that are, former head coaches and whatnot. Who are some guys that you've kind of maybe modeled your style after or big influences on you? And especially with that single wing offense, who are some guys that you really look up to for, I guess, just tips kind of as you go? Like you said, it's more of an old school look. You don't see much of that anymore.
Well, when I was at Pillion, we were a spread team most of my time there. And then the last several years, we got into the flex bone. And that kind of gave me an idea of, the old school run-based principles, they work. It gave us an advantage because we played with a lot of teams we had no business playing with being in the flex bone. And then when I got to Wagener, I tried to run the flex bone, and I found out pretty quick my quarterback couldn't read it. So, we really went to the wing T and then kind of evolved to like a hybrid between the single wing and the wing T. So I bounce ideas off of Coach Freeman a lot. The single wing stuff I learned from a guy named Rick Darlington, who coached at Apopka in Florida for a while, and then he went to Enterprise in Alabama, and then now he's back in Florida at Deland High School. He's like the single wing guru. And then I found all this stuff. A lot of this stuff I found on the internet, because nobody runs this stuff. It's not like anybody around here runs it. So I started getting into there's a single wing forum on Facebook and Twitter, and I went to a little clinic a couple years ago called the Single Wing Symposium. And it was like 20 guys from all over the country that run this stuff. And, it's like you had to have a secret card and a handshake to get into the meeting and all this stuff. And, but man, it's like I said, it's different. But constantly we're reaching out to each other. And there's a couple guys in Georgia, a couple guys in Florida that we bounce ideas off of all the time. So it's it's almost like its own little secret society, but it's cool.
Some of my favorite position coaches are offensive line coaches, and you mentioned you're a former offensive lineman. And how does that? You also mentioned your temperament. When you were younger, you were very fiery and things like that. How much of being maybe overlooked as a shorter offensive lineman, and then just playing that position in general, how does that translate to how you coach and what the type of mentality that you like to impart on your teams?
Well, I think football at its core is a physical game. It's and the best thing in the world as an offensive lineman is moving a man against his will. And that's kind of what we do offensively is we're going to kind of hit you in the face for a while. And I think that's, playing offensive line and, having that, you said when I was younger, I still have a temperament. I still a little fiery here and there. And I don't get myself in trouble anymore with it. But, when my kids do something wrong, I'm the first one to chew them out. And when they do something great, I'm the first one to give them a chest bump. But, I think that has a lot to do with my style offensively too, because it's what I did, for 4 years as a high school lineman. So it's what I want to do offensively too. We want to be physical. We want to come right at you.
Coach, end of the year, the school year here, as we're speaking now, I'm sure you guys have already been through some kind of spring practice stuff. What were you able to learn about your team, in those couple practices you had out there?
Right. So we went through 2 full weeks of spring practice, and we actually had our spring game last night. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to surprise some people. There's a lot more talent in Swansea, I believe, than people realize there is. We've got some really good players. Some of them are going to be seniors, and we've got some good younger guys. Some guys that I've got a good stable of running backs that can play multiple positions in the backfield. We're going to be able to throw the ball a little bit better than what I've been able to throw it the past couple of years. So I've learned a lot about them, and I thought there would be, they were last year. Swansea was about as spread as you could be, and it's a big change going from running doubles and trips all the time and throwing the ball about half the time to what we're going to do. So, but I've been very, very impressed with how they've not only bought into the system, but learned it. And I'm very, very excited for, a lot of people are going to listen to this interview and they're going to go, Coach Fox ain't never going to throw the ball. But I'm very excited that I haven't thrown the ball a whole lot because we haven't been able to throw it very much. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to be able to throw it a little bit. So we got several. I got 2 good quarterbacks. Got another kid coming up from the middle school that's going to be really good one day once he grows a little bit. And good set of receivers. Got guys can catch the ball. So I feel really good about it. I really do.
Coach, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know you're new in that position, so names can be tough. You're juggling 2 schools right now. But who are some of those guys that you have identified, who can help you next year, who appear to be those special players?
Right. We've got a big physical lineman that's going to be a senior named Keziah Harkless Adams. He's basically played defense his whole career. He's going to play both sides of the ball for us. That's something else that's going to change a little bit. Our numbers are not great, so the offense we run shortens the game a little bit. So, instead of running 150, 160 plays, a lot of times our games are 120. So I feel like guys can play both ways a little bit better in that system than they can in the spread, that's wide open. So Keziah is going to play both sides of the ball. He's done very well offensively in the spring. He's starting to get some interest from colleges, that sort of thing. So he's going to be a good player for us. Another good lineman up front is named Logan Kreider. He's going to be a senior as well. Another big 300-pounder. That's a big physical guy. He played center last year. He's going to play outside tackle. In our, we don't have a left and a right tackle. We have an inside tackle and an outside tackle because we're mostly unbalanced. And he's bought into that role, and he looks really good too. Probably going to play a lot on both sides. We got a running back. We got a good stable of backs. Another kid that's going to be a senior named Tayshawn Charlie, like 5'11", about 200 pounds, and runs really well, runs really, really physical. And, in the system that they were running, he didn't really have a fit. He's kind of a big downhill back. And that's kind of what we need in this system is a big, broad-shouldered, workhorse kind of back. And I feel like he's going to be that. And then with him is a kid that has had some success there named Dante Caldwell, who's more of a speed kind of guy. But he will run it up inside too. So I think he's going to have a good year. He'll be a junior. And then the kid we're going to play at wing back he's played a lot of receiver. He's going to kind of bounce back and forth and he'll play both sides of the ball as well. But he'll play a lot of wing back and play receiver. His name is Donnell Goodwin. He's a basketball guy that has just started playing football in the past year. Just really good athlete, great hands, physical kid too, big, strong kid. So I'm excited about a lot of those guys. And I'm missing some of them, but those are just some of the guys that stood out in the spring to me. They're going to be really good. One more, we got this little scat back named Ahmad Johnson. And if he's 5'5", he's standing on a box. He weighs about 130 pounds, but he legit runs a 4.41, and he can fly. And in this, and again, in the spread, like it's hard to get him the ball because you throw it over his head.
Sure.
But we get running the little counters and some of the misdirection stuff we do. All of a sudden, he'll pop out of there and nobody ever sees him. So excited about him as well, and he'll play a lot at corner for us too. So,
Coach, with you guys,
pick on him and throw the fade ball, and he'll go knock it away because he's got a good vertical too. He's a good little player.
Coach, with you guys, not throwing the ball a ton in your system there, do you do much 7-on-7 stuff in the off season, or are you more of an 11-on-11 guy now that's kind of around here, or what do you like to do? And do you guys have anything scheduled on either side of that here in the summer months?
Yeah, we do a lot of 7-on-7, and people ask me, they say, what do you do 7-on-7 for? One of the things we do 7-on-7 for is defense. It's hard for us to simulate it in practice, especially where I've been. So we need the 7-on-7 for defense. But offensively, there's going to be times that we have to throw the ball. And one of my philosophies offensively is I want to throw it when I want to, not when I have to. So we definitely want to get good at that part of the game as well so that we can have a good passing attack. And I think that's something we're going to have here. We're going to be able to throw the ball a lot more successfully at Swansea than what I was able to do at Wagener-Salley. There were years that we threw for, a little over 1,000 yards at Wagener when I had a pretty good quarterback. It's been a little bit of a struggle. There were times that I'd have a good quarterback and I didn't have good receivers to go with him, or I'd have really good receivers and didn't have a guy that could get the ball out there. So I feel like we've got both of those things in Swansea, and we're going to be able to throw the ball a little bit. So yeah, we're doing a lot of 7-on-7s this summer. We're hosting several of them, and we're going a couple places. I don't like to get into the tournament part of it. To me, the tournament style 7-on-7 stuff is football going in the wrong direction. But we do some. I've done some 11-on-11 stuff in the past too. But we do some 7-on-7 stuff for sure.
Coach, you're making a jump in your career going from a 1A school to a 3A school. What sort of things have you implemented in the spring to try to make that transition to going up in competition? And you also mentioned like your numbers are a little bit down there at Swansea. What are you doing in that community to kind of like bring the excitement back to the football program?
Right. I think football's football. That's something I've learned, coaching at 1A. I think every coach should coach 1A football because if you're coaching at a 4A and 5A, and I'm not down in those guys, but if you coach 1A football, you have to know everything. You can't just be one side of the ball because in the past 9 years, I have coached every single position at some point. I've been the O-line coach. I've coached quarterback. I have coached them all because you're going to have to because coaches go and come and, you're able to get good coaches sometimes and then they leave and you have to be able to do it all. And you have to know the special teams and you learn that all parts of the game tie together. Offense, defense, special teams, it all affects each other. Complementary football. So I think everybody should have to coach 1A football for a couple of years because you learn a lot about the game. And I think that gives me an advantage going into a 3A program with lower numbers at the moment. But we are doing some things. We're constantly at the middle school. We have a freshman academy that is separate from the high school in Swansea. So we're constantly in there, talking to kids. We're hosting a youth camp on June 6th, which is free for everybody, giving T-shirts out. So we're constantly, we're doing things in the community where, we're going to do some community service projects here soon. So we're constantly, using social media. So just constantly trying to get kids out and get kids interested in our program. And I think some of that's going to come with some success too. We win some games early and I think some kids are going to go, man, I wish I'd have played. So, we'll get there. There's no doubt about that.
Swansea has, a proud history, 6 state titles, 3 in a row from 92 to 94, but they've had some, some down years lately. Obviously, you guys are doing some stuff to kind of get back into the community. Can you tell that the community has kind of embraced you so far and that they, can you feel maybe a hunger for a program that wins some ball games and makes some deep runs again there?
Oh, absolutely, man. The community's hungry. I've noticed we've played Swansea past couple years at Wagener. We went over to Swansea 2 years ago. And we had them on the ropes, and we found a way to lose the ball game. And then they came to us this past year, and we beat them. And the crowd, I couldn't believe, as down as it's been, I could not believe the crowd. Mm-hmm. When we went there, it was packed. And when they came to us, it was the best gate we had all year at Wagener when Swansea visited us. So I said, the community is very, very supportive. We had a huge crowd at our spring game last night. They're very, very hungry for success. And I think that's important. The community has to support you. And they've been nothing but nice to me. They've accepted me with open arms. And, people are coming up constantly, hey, what can I do? What can I do? And I think that's important. That's one of the things that it takes to build a good program. And I've got a buddy named don't know if you guys know Lee Sawyer. Lee Sawyer was the head coach at Strom Thurmond for a while, and now he's kind of in the sporting goods market. But he used to be the defensive coordinator at Swansea. And me and him both have a belief that if a place was good one time, they can be good again. And that's, I think everything is in place for, Swansea to be good. And we just got to there's a lot of work to do. And I think we've got the right people in place, and I think we've got good kids and the community supportive. And I think we're going to get it back. It's going to take some work, and it may take a little time, but we're going to definitely move in the right direction. Just trying to get 1% better every day. I know that's a coaching cliche, but we're going to get 1% better every day.
You mentioned like getting the program better, and it starts like from your fundamental change on program building. What is something that you identified early on, when you got there, that you wanted to change, to kind of shift that culture to kind of meet your style? Right.
I think our biggest problems are, one of the challenges, I don't want to say a problem. One of the challenges is that our freshmen are in a different building at Swansea than they're not at the high school. And, all of our football guys at high school are in a weightlifting class. We don't have a football class like a lot of schools do, because we're on a 7-period-a-day schedule. But we got all of our guys at high school that play, they're in a weightlifting class, but there's no weight equipment at the freshman academy. So the superintendent, the athletic director, we got together and we said, hey, we need to fix this. And they're spending the money, and we're putting some weight equipment at the freshman academy. We're going to send a PE teacher down, and we're going to start getting some of our freshmen lifting weights during the day. So we're fired up about it. I think that's going to be huge, because to be as physical as we want to be, it starts in the weight room. And so that's something that I think is going to be a huge jump forward. And I also believe that anything needs to be built. Anything you're going to build that's going to stand needs to be built on a great foundation. And so, I've got 4 core values that we try to build our football program on. We use the acronym TACT. So we talk about team, accountability, competition, and toughness. So we're constantly preaching those things. Our coaches are constantly looking for those things in practice, and we're trying to point them out, and we're trying to reinforce it constantly. Because I think if you do the little things right, the big thing, the wins start taking care of themselves.
Coach, got a couple easier ones here for you before we let you go today. So maybe it's a home game in your office on a Friday, or on the bus to the away game. What's in that pregame playlist as you get ready for action?
I don't listen to any music on the way to the game, man. I got a very eclectic musical taste, though. I'm everywhere from Johnny Cash to Tupac to everything, man. I'm all over the place. So, I like the new country. I like the old country, and the new stuff, man. I don't know how these kids listen to this junk.
Hey, that's Kevin. Kevin's listening to that stuff. He's all in. I'm the same way. I'm listening to we got 92.5.
I listen to whatever.
He's there. He's listening to it. A question we ask everybody that comes on our program. Kevin and I love food. Have you identified some restaurants, some spots? So if we come down to a Swansea Tigers game, for a meal, where should we hit up?
There's a good little Mexican restaurant in Swansea called Pedro's. Really good. There's another right at the stoplight, right across from, there's a Hardee's right there, but right across from the Hardee's, there's a little restaurant called the Valley. And I've had food from there a couple of times, and it's really good as well. So you got to try Pedro's, and you got to try the Valley. And if you're in a hurry, Hardee's is always good.
Hey, can't beat Hardee's, especially breakfast.
That's right. Well, Coach, last one here for you before I let you go. I know it's early in the process still. You hadn't really gotten over to Swansea yet, but what are some of those goals for that 2024 season for you guys?
One of the things I want to do is institute that family mindset. My wife is on the sideline with me. That's one of those things that's a little weird that a lot of coaches were like, what? That's something that Coach Freeman did, and I definitely want to institute that family mindset. So my kids are involved, my wife's involved, because I think it's important that our coaches see us be, our players see us be good fathers, good husbands, because they don't see that all the time. And I think that's important. So I want to institute that family mindset. I want to build our program on the foundation that I talked about a minute ago with the TACT. And I just want to institute that physicality mindset as well. And I think if we do that, then the winning part takes care of itself. If you do things the right way, and you build a program on the right foundation, and you get good people around you, and that's something I'm very excited about with our coaching staff. It's a bunch of good dudes. And I don't think you can get enough good people around your players. So I got good football coaches that are good people. And, we're going to lay a really good foundation this first year, and we're going to get this thing going in the right direction. So there's no doubt in my mind.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go check out Coach Fox and the Tigers program on Twitter/X and Facebook. They do a great job posting updates and highlights of their kids. Definitely follow them on there. Like I mentioned, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Movin Chains, website movingchains.com, podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Moving the Chains brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Jarrell, anything else for Coach? We'll let him go today.
Coach Fox, congratulations on this new opportunity. I know you're going to do great things there at Swansea. Like you said, a program that's been good once can definitely be good again. I think you're the right man for the job there. Huge loss for Wagener-Salley, but I'm sure they understand why you're moving on, and just really excited to see what you're able to build over the next couple of years there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Coach, we appreciate it. Look forward to stopping by a game or practice, getting to meeting you in person, and best of luck, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.